Paranormal Pete, and I'm on a journey to seek answers to the questions that have crossed all of our minds. What happens to us when we die? Is there an afterlife? I'm a regular guy who discovered the gift of psychic mediumship in my 30s. My passion for history and the unknown have put me right here, right now. My mantra for anything paranormal is, we don't know much and anything is possible. Join me as we find our way through the stories, evidence, and experiences of the paranormal and beyond in search of answers, even if that leads to more questions. Are you with me? Greetings, everybody out there. This is the Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Peter Abed. This is episode 54 on 2/22/22. I think I got that right. February 22nd, 2022. That's pretty cool. We got a great show for you tonight. Stoked at episode 54. Just keep going, just like the Energizer Bunny. We'll see how far I go, right? But we got special guest, host of the Paranormal Brew Show, Taryn Kerper, on tonight. And I'm excited to talk to her about places like Gettysburg. And we'll find out everything about her show and where you can find it and check it out as well. So we're here on WLTKDB, and you can add a .com and you find the website there. Be sure you go through the website. You can find all the past episodes. There's an archive on there, and you'll find so many other great shows with a lot of cool content that's coming out. So if you like this show, please go check out all of the other shows on the station, and you've got content every day. So you got stuff to check out. If you really love the paranormal, this is a good place to be. So head on over to WLTKDB.com. You can find us on all the socials under that handle, WLTKDB, Let's Talk Radio. So go to Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Just search WLTKDB and you'll find everything there. But I want to thank everybody for following this show. We've got a huge birthday shout out this week to station manager and host of Haunted Voices, Todd Bates. His birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday. Hope you had a great day. And but just want to give you a special shout out, Todd. Thanks for all that you do for this show and the whole station. Also, a quick shout out to producer Michael Beers, good friend of mine, and hope you're listening out there. And I'll say to everybody out there, wherever you're watching from, give us a comment, say hello where you're watching from. If you have any questions, feel free to comment on whatever platform you're watching this show from. Just type in the comments, and we will see it. So if you have questions, I hope I'll have an answer, but we'll do our best. So a couple things coming up. I have a special investigation this Saturday night at the Walker Ames house right here in Port Gamble. So if you're in Washington around Puget Sound and you want to do an investigation, it's 3 hours at the Walker Ames house. Just go to PortGambleParanormal.com so you can see the dates and get tickets. I've got 2 more ghost walks coming up and 1 more special investigation after the one this Saturday before we are off for the summer. So if you're interested in taking a walking tour of historic Port Gamble, if you don't know where Port Gamble is, just Google it. It's one of Washington's oldest towns, and it's like a step back in time here. So come on out and do a tour or an investigation. Another thing coming up that I'm really excited about is the Oregon Ghost Conference coming up March 25th through 27th. And go to OregonGhostConference.com to get all the details there. I get to host a panel this year, so that'll be a lot of fun. I'm helping with some of the walking tours of Seaside, Oregon. That's where it's at. Really cool place. But check out OregonGhostConference.com. And Friday night of the conference on the 25th at the Times Theater, they're going to be debuting a new documentary called Parasense, The Naked Experiments from Ross Allison and Chad Goodwin. I had him on the show last week, and it just, the experiments they're doing are so cool, trying to prove being touched by spirit. How do they prove that? And so it's a really interesting concept. So they're going to be debuting that at the Oregon Ghost Conference. So if you want to check that out, head on down to Seaside, but go to OregonGhostConference.com. And of course, I'm starting planning for the Port Gamble Ghost Conference coming up this November. It's going to be November 11th through 13th. And information can be found at portgamble.com. And I'll hopefully be updating with new information soon. So, but hopefully you see you at the Oregon Ghost Conference or up here in Port Gamble. And we've got a couple people checking in. Huntophobia Canada. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. He's coming in from YouTube there. And we've also got Tracy Kennedy, right? Big River Paranormal down in Oregon. Great friend of the show. Thanks for watching. Yeah, so if anybody wants to comment, maybe you've got a ghost conference that you like, go ahead and comment that, and we'll be sure and give it a shout out. The conferences are really good for education and just networking and meeting other people with, shared experiences. So if you like a conference that you go to in your local area, give it a shout out. We'll be sure to mention it. Well, let's get down to it. I've got a special guest, Taryn Kerper from the Paranormal Brew Show. It's a cool name. I think it's. I'm interested in that. So Taryn is a New Jersey native who began a paranormal journey in 2012 when she trained and became a member of a local paranormal group. She has been a member of several paranormal groups, like most of us, right? But today enjoys her role as a host and an independent investigator. She's a member of the Ghostly Excursions event team, which has hosted many successful paranormal events, most notably the Pennhurst Paracon. That sounds awesome. She's also assisted local historical sites with events such as the Selma Mansion, Fort Mifflin in Philly, and Pennhurst Asylum in Spring City, Pennsylvania. With the help of selected investigators, she continues to do both private and historical investigations. So we'll be asking her about her love of history. In 2010, she captured what is believed to be an apparition of a soldier on the railroad cut in Gettysburg. The photo is currently on exhibit in the Ghostly Images section of the Ghost of Gettysburg store on Baltimore Pike in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. It is also on display in Brian Cano's History of the Paranormal mobile exhibit. That's awesome. So let's bring her in. Let's get going here. Let's welcome Taryn Kerper,
Hi.
host of the Paranormal Brew Show.
Hi,
Right?
how are you?
Good. Welcome to the show, and
Thanks.
sounds like you're pretty busy,
Yeah.
as we all are.
Well, it just
Uh,
recently just got really busy, but but
yeah.
yes.
Oh, well, that's good. How'd you do through the last couple of years? Because I like to ask my guests about it because we all kind of feel like we got busier, even though things were shut down.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's because we all just discovered this whole StreamYard Zoom. Like this is like, wow, we can really this is awesome. Let's just do this. you
Yeah,
know?
right. Yeah.
Why
Well,
not?
it opened some doors in other ways. Hey, Michael,
Hi,
Michael
Mike.
Acciana, a friend of the show.
Hi, Ray.
Yeah, and Huntophobia. Yeah, I don't know what your real name is, but he shared it to the Parapost Network Facebook page. Thanks a lot for doing that. Really appreciate it. I've got some more people chiming in. Raymond Newsom, thanks for listening. He says, Taryn, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for watching. Um, so I like that. You say you've been a member of several paranormal groups. I think we all have, right?
hmm
Um, kind of work with different people, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
What got you? What got you to join your first paranormal team? What kind of drew you to want to do research?
Well, I updated my bio because like I really sat down with my mom. I'm like, right, I need a timeline here because things don't add up. So I amateurly started doing it like in 2009. Because 2007 is when I actually had like my first paranormal experience, and that was in Gettysburg.
Okay.
Um, and after that, because up until then, I think I was probably in 2007. I don't want to say how old I was, but
You don't
um,
have to.
I was a lot older. Up until then, I wanted nothing to do with the paranormal. I was afraid of it. I was scared. I was
Hmm.
like, I was interested. I watched Ghost Hunters. I thought it was cool, but
Right.
no. And my mom was the opposite of me. She grudgingly drugged me to Gettysburg for the first time because I was like, oh, fine, I'll go. And so I had my first go. So she literally changed my life from that first trip to Gettysburg because I fell in love with Gettysburg instantly, and my paranormal journey just took. You know what I mean? It just started from there.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome, and I can kind of relate in the sense that I was always interested in it, but here in Port Gamble, up in Washington State, um, I started leading the Ghost Walk tours in 2011, and just had all kinds of personal experiences, and that started my real paranormal journey
Mhm.
just from this town here, where there's just seems to be activity everywhere. What was it about Gettysburg that really kind of hooked you?
I will be honest with you, I have no idea.
The
I I
acceptable
mean
answer.
I don't I got out of the car and it just like literally I was like, wow. Like I don't know, I don't know. And then it just literally we were there for 2 or 3 days. I think we were there for 2 nights, 3 days. And as soon as I got home, I was booking my next trip already.
Wow.
I was
Okay.
I was like, I thought it was like it's the best way I can explain it is it's literally I normally don't meditate and I'm really bad. I know I'm really bad at like protection and doing all this stuff and
Sure.
meditation because I have ADD really bad. So it's
Okay.
kind of tough for me to like concentrate and do stuff. However, Gettysburg is almost like this natural Xanax for me. It's my Zen. It's my Calgon. Like I go there and I feel just rejuvenated. Just feel like I'm $1,000,000, and then I don't want to
Wow.
leave.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
like, why
I
would I want to leave here?
Yeah. Well, the history of the place would probably make me not want to leave either.
Oh, it's
I
amazing.
wonder, have you ever, or have had anyone ever tell you, maybe you've been there before,
Hmm.
and that,
Yes.
that sounds, that kind of connection to a place that's, that sudden, it kind of makes me think maybe you've been there before.
Yep. And it's absolutely, it feels like home to me. So I literally, the longer I stay, so there'll be times where I've gone out there for a week by myself. I'll have a blast. I go out there by myself. So I've made friends out there. People that own like some inns out there and stores, and just they're all great people out there. Even the people that live there are
Yeah.
awesome. I'm sure people that live in town probably every town has their gripes. I'm sitting here as a
Sure.
I don't consider myself a tourist,
Not at
but
this point. Sure. Yeah.
but I still act like one when I go. Like I'll go and I'll buy Gettysburg shirts, Gettysburg this, Gettysburg that.
Hey, the shops in small towns, they need
Absolutely.
that. They
Yeah,
need that. So
for
you're
sure.
you're you're helping out. Um, well, was it what did you what did you learn about the place that you didn't think you like, it wasn't even part of your thought process? What did you learn about the place just from your experiences there that, maybe you didn't think you would ever think of?
So I will be 1000% honest. I was bad in high school. I would cut school a lot, and I hated history. I hated science. I hated math. The only thing I liked was English and gym. So I never really paid that much attention to history or anything. I was like a social butterfly, and I didn't know anything about Gettysburg. Because I didn't know about Gettysburg, that's why I was like kind of fighting. I'm like, Mom, what is in Gettysburg? She's like, it's a historic town. I'm like, oh God, I'm like, all right, fine, I'll go. But then I didn't realize, to see. I mean, the town has preserved itself so well. They've done such a good job at preserving all the buildings and stuff like that, and even the park and the where you drive through, you see all the monuments and stuff like that. I mean, they're preserving the land to what it was like in 1863. So they're doing such a fabulous job. You go there and you're like in a time capsule. And
Yeah, step
it's
back in
amazing.
time. Yeah. I can totally relate here. Hi, Stephen. Thanks for commenting. I can totally relate with that. With Port Gamble, we've got there used to be about 400 buildings here, and now there's about 50. So we're lucky to have those. But it looks like a town from the 1800s in Maine. That's where the founders
Oh,
of the town were from. So
in
out
Maine.
here, yeah, in Maine, East Machias, Maine, and so the buildings have been kept up, and the town is still being used. It was a sawmill town, but it's like that when you walk into town here. It's a step back in time. The newest building here is 1919,
Mm,
the newest house, and so yeah, I get where you're coming from on that.
absolutely.
Um, yeah, that's so cool. Well, tell us about. I'm interested to hear a little bit more about this photo that you've got on display. Photo of a soldier.
Mm,
Tell us a little bit about when you took the photo and what's in it, and just tell
yeah.
us about it. Yeah.
So it was one of my week long trips. It was a Sony digital camera. It was in 2010, and it was July, and um, I was just taking scenery pics, of Gettysburg, like I always do. I mean, if you go on my page, there's albums and albums and albums and albums of Gettysburg. And a lot of the same pictures, same scenery, but you always get the lighting just a little bit different than the last one.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I was just taking scenery pictures, and we get back, and I put the SD card in, and I'm with somebody that is not into the paranormal at all. She went,
Okay.
just as a friend, and this and that. She didn't believe in it. We're going through the pictures, and she goes, "Wait, go back." I was like, "What?" She's like, "What is that?" She's like, "I was on the bridge with. There was nobody standing there." I was like, "Yeah, no, there wasn't anybody there." I remember because on the other side there was all these people, so I didn't want people in my pictures. I hate when people and signs and cars get in my pictures because I
Right.
don't know how to edit.
Sure.
So so whenever I take a picture, I always wait for the car lights to get out of it or whatever. So I know there wasn't anybody there, but it is believed to be. I sent it to a couple of people, a couple of places in Gettysburg. Mark Nesbitt, his place, Ghosts of Gettysburg, sent to Mark Nesbitt, and I sent it to. At the time, there was a museum there. It was called the International Museum of Spirit Investigations, and it was on Baltimore Pike. And I gave it to them, and they both probably. It took about a year, to get back to me. And like, I guess one of them, not Mark Nesbitt, but the other guys, they would had it developed on all different types of, they did whatever they had to do to try to maybe
Yeah.
see. I
Authenticated
wasn't
or
I wasn't a part of all of that. I didn't know that's what they were doing. Again, at the time, I was still this amateur. This was 2010. I didn't join my group until 2012, so I
right.
really didn't know what I was. And then finally, Mark Nesbitt had written me and said that he was like 99% sure this was an apparition. You can never say 100%,
Right.
right? You can never say 100%.
Right.
Um, you know, what is it? To me, it looks like I always say it looks like a Union officer, but everybody that is a historian or somebody that is well versed with this, always says it looks like a Confederate soldier. So an officer, because it looks like a long jacket with boots and a
Hmm.
hat, almost like he's waiting for the train, you know,
Yeah.
or something
And so this was caught during the day.
during the day.
Oh, cool. That's
Yeah,
yeah. That's. I think that helps with a photo, just because at nighttime there could be so many other
yeah, it was during the day.
things that can affect a photo. So that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, you can see, like, even in the photo, like, it's not a shadow from something because you can see where the shadow is on the opposite side of the railroad tracks coming from. You can see the shadow from the trees.
Right.
So there's so many things in there. I can't say 100% it is. You know what I mean? I believe it is.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything there when I took the
Yeah.
photo, but
Well, I think it's great that you sent it off to a couple people, different people that were kind of running it through their own checks and balances, and trying to see what it was. So that's really cool. And I you can go with 99.5% sure.
yeah.
And and it's kind of even more cool that your friend saw it,
Yeah.
um, and then had to point it out to you. And so it wasn't like you were looking for something; you're just taking a photo.
Right.
That's
And yeah,
great.
and I would have just deleted that. I didn't even see it. She saw it. Thankfully, she was looking at it.
Yeah.
She was looking at the pictures because she was like, "No, wait, go back." I was like, "Wait, what?" She goes, "Taryn, there wasn't anybody on the railroad tracks, but we were there. What is
Yeah.
that?"
Yeah. I think you've got some friends giving you a hard time
They
here.
are. They are. I know. I'm laughing.
Thanks, Raymond. If I don't get to talk, whatever. Uh, and the huntophobia doesn't matter day or night. If it's haunted, it's haunted. Sure.
Yeah.
Ghosts don't. We always joke around up here in the Pacific Northwest, oh, you have to turn the lights out because, ghosts are afraid of light,
Yeah.
No, it happens during the day. It happens during the day. It happens during
Especially
the
there.
night. Yeah.
Especially there. I mean, like I go 15 times a year, so I'm there all
Yeah.
months, seasons.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick station break here, but
Oh
quick
yeah,
question for you.
yeah,
Have you noticed over all these times you've been there, does it seem, do you seem to get more activity during the day or at night? Or does it just kind of, you just
during
got
the
to be at the
day.
right time during the day? Okay. Well, that's interesting. Most of the time, here it's at night, and that's probably because there's less outside noise pollution, less activity going on, so we may notice it more. So you find it more at the daytime there. That's awesome.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
so you don't have to stay up all night.
I still would love to,
Yeah,
especially
right.
there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we're going to take a quick station break here on WLTKDB.com with special guest Taryn Kerper. When we come back, we're going to ask her about some other cool places that she's investigated and about some of her experiences there. And then we're going to be talking about her show, Paranormal Brew. So stick around. We're going to be right back here pretty quickly on WLTKDB.com. I'm your host, Pete Orbe of the Paranormal Pete Show. And if I can find my here we go. All right, we'll be right back here. Episode 54 of the Paranormal Pete Show. We'll see you on the flip side. Hang on.
Looking to launch your new masterpiece? Then try something new with Moonbow Publishing and Production. At Moonbow, we have a strong desire to serve authors in a powerful and meaningful way. After all, you poured your heart and soul into your writing, and we fully understand and respect that. Remember this: you will own the copyright to your work. You will have the final say on your work before being published. Even after all of that, we've saved the best for last. We won't take a percentage sold. Nope, not a penny. Excited about MoonbowPublications.com yet? We thought so. Take advantage of our company's services like book editing, formatting, and covers, publishing, and photography. Moonbow Publishing and Productions has everything you are looking for in a company. Remember, we will not keep any commissions. We are a boutique publishing company focusing on spiritual, health and wellness, and personal growth genres. Moonbow Publications and Productions, a new kind of publishing company.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Pete Orbe, with special guest Taryn Kerper from the Paranormal Brew Show. And I'm going to say resident Gettysburg
Yeah.
aficionado there.
Yeah. Yeah. I see somebody was checking in from Italy. That's like my bucket list.
Oh, yeah, I
Like
would
dream.
so
Oh,
love to get over to the old stuff. Go really see
oh,
some old stuff.
I would love to go to Italy.
Yeah, and so Hunophobia, his name's Brian John, by the
Yeah.
way. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
Yes.
And that was good friend of the show, Tim Martin. Greetings from Florence, Italy. Well,
Oh, I love it.
travel safe, and take lots of photos. I'm sure you are. and hopefully you can visit some cool sites over there, like maybe catacombs or something
Yeah,
like
that would be
that.
so cool.
Well, good luck over there, Tim. Thanks for watching.
Pompeii. Go to Pompeii.
Yeah, there you go. Gosh, it's got to be morning time there. He's probably having coffee, espresso.
Oh yeah, right.
So before the break, we were talking about Gettysburg and all
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. Well, tell us some other places you've been that were, a fun investigation or where you had some, really cool activity. What are some other places you've been to?
So the first place that always pops in my head is Rolling Hills Asylum in New York.
Yep. That's
Um,
a place I want to go. Sure.
that place, it's so worth it. It is amazing. Like I said, I'm not somebody that sees things and hears. At the most,
Yeah.
I hear stuff. So when I go into a place investigating, like I'm almost not looking for. I am, but I'm not. I'm
Yeah.
always very open minded. So
Uh,
I'm a skeptic.
mm-hmm.
Healthy skeptic. So anyway, but Rolling Hills, I went there and I experienced things that for the first time that I hadn't experienced yet. I actually saw. Um, I can't.
I know your friends are giving you a hard time.
um,
Sharon's campaign manager for Mayor Gettysburg. Let go for it.
Sorry. So and I forget where. Now I said I told you I have ADD, right? So then I forget what I'm saying.
That's fine. Well, you're talking about the Rolling Hills Asylum,
So yeah,
and
so I
yeah,
so there was a point on one floor, and I don't absorb the information a lot. When you walk around, they tell you the history of the place and stuff like that. So I mean, there's some people that'll be like, oh yeah, that was on that floor, and they name it. I can't do that. So I was on one of the floors.
okay,
And the first thing that had happened there was, now this was an event that my group was putting on at Rolling Hills. So I had like a group of people that had paid to do this investigation. So
sure,
I'm hearing something going. We're in one room, and I hear something going on in the room across the hall. So me and one of the guests had actually gone, and we were standing outside the room because you really couldn't get in there. There's a bunch of chairs, and all this stuff was like kind of thrown in there.
right,
But it sounded like somebody was going around and flicking the chairs. So it was like ding, 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 and I'm like,
okay,
and we're looking at each other. I'm like, you hear it? And she's like, yeah, I hear this. I'm like, what the hell was that? And all of a sudden, like on my cheek, I could feel like breath, and it was like, ho, 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 ho. I was like, what? I looked at her. She goes, did you hear that? I'm like, hear that? I felt that. I was like, yes, I heard that. I was like,
okay,
oh,
yes. So
yeah,
you heard the vocalization of a like a laugh.
like a goofy laugh, and I could feel the breath
Oh,
on my cheek, and I just slowly stepped back. That was a little too close for my comfort,
right, right,
not that I felt anything bad,
yeah,
but you know, and I said, did you hear that? She's like, yeah, I heard it. And I say, I'm like, I don't know what just happened. So then we get over that. I rewind my recorder. It's on the recorder. I'm like, this is awesome. So I hear something. I go out to the hall now. At the end of the hall are two, if you will, they look like two hospital doors with
okay,
stained windows.
okay,
That was on the other side of those doors was the tuberculosis room. So it's this big,
okay,
huge room with nothing but windows that were just open, and one of the light was on. And I go out to the hall, and all of a sudden I see what looks like a person going, like walking across, like the typical horror movie, scary movie. Like you just, I'm like, all right, how many is all seven here? I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we're all here. I'm like, did anybody go past? No. So I have to go running down there. My heart was pounding.
getting closer to it, yeah.
Yes. I'm like, this is what you see in horror movies, It's like, oh, and I just closed my eye and I boom went in there and there's nobody there. So I actually saw what like the head and the top of the shoulder, like kind of like the head and like the start of the shoulder, and then
Sure.
then the feet under, you know what I mean, like underneath the door. You
The
could
light
see,
under
and
the door,
you
yeah.
could see like if somebody was walking, and
Okay,
nobody was there. Then later on, I hear we were on very top floor, and I could hear faint the faint sound of children singing "London Bridge is Falling Down"
Oh,
creepily.
yes. Anytime children singing, that should be angelic, but
It was creepy.
not when they're not when they're not there.
Yeah, no, it reminded me kind of like the Freddy Krueger, like 1, 2. I'm like, oh
Uh,
wait, what is
yeah,
that? I'm like, is anybody playing music? Is anybody? I'm like trying to think of all these. I'm
sure.
radioing. I'm like, what is it? And it's on the recorder.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, was there a child's ward there?
I apologize. I don't know.
Oh,
I
that's
don't.
okay.
I really don't know. I do know that I think there was either and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, because I like, again, I don't really remember, but there was either a nurse or some woman, a nurse or teacher or something like that there, that was either from like London, or so the fact that the London Bridge was falling down kind of was like, which
Sure.
I didn't know that until I had messaged Sharon, who owns it. I said, I caught these little kids singing London Bridge. She's like, there was it was either a teacher or a nurse or somebody that
Yeah.
was like from London and was there,
Okay.
taking
Yeah.
care of, children. So I do know that, but
Yeah. Did you happen to catch that on audio at all? Oh, cool. Okay. That's I love that when you can hear something disembodied and then your audio file can help back that up.
yeah,
And yeah, and oh, that's so cool. To back I want to go back to the door, and was it just you that saw this figure, or did other
yeah.
people it
No,
was
it
just
was
you
just,
that saw it?
unfortunately, because everybody was in this room. We were investigating.
Oh, okay.
So I heard something. I went back out, just like I heard something before. Me and the girl had walked out to that door, and so I heard something again. I walked out, and you just kind of like look up and down, the hall and stuff. And when I looked down the hall, that's when I saw it.
Yeah.
So I went into them and I said, "Is everybody with us? That's in our group?" I counted, and I said, "Did anybody see anybody walk past our room?" No. So then that's when I went
Yeah.
down there, and there was nothing in the room when I opened the doors.
Yeah. Oh.
And
Yeah.
you literally, when you really see that, when you like it plays such tricks on your mind. You're like, am I tired? Did I drink too much coffee? Like, you really seriously question yourself
Sure.
a
I
thousand times.
Yeah, everybody, yeah, you have to. Personal experiences are, the most profound to somebody, but also we're human, so
Yeah,
you really do have to question that. Well, oh, that's cool. And how big is it a pretty large location?
huge.
Yeah, the
It's very
asylums
big.
always seem to be huge.
It's very big, but she's real good about. She kind of just she'll let you go wherever. She just says, "Do not provoke.
Yeah, sure.
Don't provoke,"
Yeah,
because when she says like they're active, they're very. I mean, even before the tour, like we were taking the tour, and there was like a group of 25 of us, and how they walk you around,
yeah,
and we I all of a sudden hear this like psych scream coming from like somewhere in the building. I mean, it was horrifying, actually. It was like three, and I start to look around, and I see two other people looking around, like, and I'm like, do you hear that? And you're like, yeah, I hear that. I'm like, do you hear that? And I hear what? I'm like, do you hear that scream? So then the three of us go running down the hallway, and then we're radioing because there's other groups. I'm like, did anybody just hear that scream? Is anybody screaming? No, 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 no. So three people out of this entire, and this scream was so loud. It was like three in a row, but it was like that psych scream, you
yeah.
know?
Ah, yeah,
Yeah, like just freaking out. Like they need their meds. I was
yeah.
like,
Oh,
it's crazy. Rolling Hills is crazy. I love it.
yeah. Oh, that's cool. And it kind of makes you wonder, okay, why did only three of us hear that?
Right,
Was it because we are in the right mindset? Were the three of us in the right open-minded, zone to
right.
be able to receive that? Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
What's another place you've been to? Because you live in around where there's all this old cool stuff.
I know. I was just talking about this the other night too. I said it's crazy because when you go to Gettysburg and you talk to the people that live there, they're like, "Oh, I've never been to the reenactments," or "I've never been to that place and you're like, what? I'm like, it's so cool, right? And I live 15 minutes from Philly, and I can't even tell you the times that I've gone into Philly to do a history tour.
Yeah.
0, probably.
Oh, nice.
I mean, and not that I'm not interested in it, but it's
Yeah.
just, I need to go there. I need to go to Gettysburg.
Right.
So,
Oh, well, adulting,
you
we
know,
all life gets in the way for sure.
yeah,
You know,
yes,
yeah, there's lots of stuff like in Seattle I want to go see, and I'm a ferry boat ride away, and just life gets in the way.
right, right, right.
So, well, let's talk a little bit about your show.
Mhm.
Well, oh wait, no, let's back up. I want to go
Yeah,
back to investigation here.
yeah,
So you mentioned that you hear stuff, clairaudience.
and it's not
Go
all the
ahead.
time, but
Sure.
a lot of times. It's not all the time.
Is there like before you do an investigation, is there like what do you do beforehand other than like setting up equipment or
So,
whatever? Is it do you like prepare yourself? Kind of how do you approach an investigation?
it depends because a private house obviously is a lot different than a historical location.
Right.
If we're talking historical locations, like I said, I'm not disclaimer. I'm not. This is nobody else should do what I say, but I'm not very good at protection and stuff like that. So I just go balls to the wall right into a place and not even. I don't think about it. I don't.
Sure.
I don't look up the history of it. I don't look at. Just go in and see what happens.
Yep.
And a lot of people might disagree with that, like investigators and skeptics, both.
Right.
But it's just and I don't use a lot of equipment.
Hmm.
I bring a recorder. I have a lot of equipment. I've paid thousands of dollars for a lot of equipment that just sit in a bag. But now I just use my recorder. I'll bring a camera just in case, maybe a GoPro. But my recorder is basically like I love EVPs. To me, EVPs are probably the hardest thing to try to explain.
Okay. Yeah.
Above anything else. I mean, I just that's my choice. So going into an
Sure.
investigation, I don't do anything. I mean, if there are times where I will, if I can, because it depends on who you're with, how many people are there. I mean, if you're investigating with your best friends, it's going to be hard to do. Like what I would do is I would lay on the floor. I close my eyes because I take the sense of sight away, so I can hear. I can open up here, and then I can hear and
Sure.
the feel the property that I'm at. If I was allowed or allotted 10 minutes to do that, I think it would open me up a little bit more. But there's not a lot of opportunities to sit in silence for 10 minutes with a group of people. Like it just
Sure.
doesn't happen.
Sure.
Especially
Yeah.
when we're all amped up on coffee and we're like so.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
No, exactly. Uh, no, I think your approach is your approach, and what you're trying to get out of the investigation. And I like how you said earlier that you're not. It's not necessarily like you're looking for things. You're looking for specific things. And I think that if you go in looking like there's a little girl in this location, and if you're like looking for that, chances are you may have some sort of experience, but was it you
right,
or
right. Or was it that
or
you
was
took
it real?
right?
Or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or was it real? Um, your friends are having fun over here.
They are. They're the best. So yeah, so Huntophobia, I'm actually an admin for that page. Brian John, he is the creator of Power Post Network, and he actually brought me aboard as a co-owner
Oh,
for
cool.
Power Post Network. Yeah, so we're currently working on that at the moment. But
And your
uh,
campaign to be mayor
yes,
of
yes,
Gettysburg.
and shockingly, there are people outside of our community that agree with them that I should be mayor of Gettysburg for some reason.
Hey, maybe someday. Don't count it out.
Oh, no way. I would love it.
That would be cool.
That would be so
Um,
cool.
so when you're with audio, because I like to review audio. That's kind of video. You get cross-eyed after a while. I like reviewing audio. Is there certain program that you use for that? How do you kind of go through your audio stuff?
Yeah, so I'm totally like old school and not even up to tech. So
Yeah,
Audacity, I just put it in. Again, I don't
that's
know
what I
how
use.
I use Audacity. It's old, but I use it. And I um I love you too. Love you guys too. Um I put it in. I don't know how to make it do, different wavelengths or whatever people do to,
Sure.
so my audio is just as raw as it gets. I
Yeah.
let people, some people say they'll take it and they'll try to, enhance it and do this and that, if they need to, but, um, you
Yeah.
know, yeah,
Well, I kind of feel like, and tell me what you think. When you get a piece of audio that you're like, "Whoa, what was that?" Um, you know, if you don't have to alter it, or like boost or put any effects on it to try and draw out what you're getting, if you don't have to do that and just have the raw clip of what you've got, then I think that's way better, right? If you
yeah, I
don't have
agree.
to, so doing it simply, you may call it simply or whatever, but if you don't have to alter that piece of audio, um, yeah, then I think that works great.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm so afraid I'm going to do something to it and erase it. So I don't touch it. All I know how to do is cut it. Like I know how to cut the piece out that I want, you
e-
know? And all that's all I know how to do. Just to cut the EVP part out, the length of the EVP, but I don't know how to do anything else.
and
And I'm
that's fine.
afraid to do anything else. I'm like, I
And
don't want
that's
to lose
fine,
it.
because if you can't tell what it is without altering it, then it's not going to be the best piece of
Right.
data that you get out of something. No, I totally agree. And do you ever like, do you take notes while you're investigating, or do you just kind of use um, your audio device as a
Hmm.
vocal
Yeah.
log sort of thing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
find that's easy to do sometimes too, because if you're in the dark,
You can't
I
really
have
see.
bad handwriting, so then it's like, what the hell did I write there? you know
Yep, I know. And then, if I'm writing something down, that means that there's something questionably happening. So I would want to pay attention to what's
right,
happening.
right,
So I pay attention and I just, kind of will just say whatever in the recorder. We just did an investigation at Kreischer Mansion in Staten Island, and there's some pretty. It was the first time I ever investigated with those. There was 12 of us. It was the first time I ever investigated with these people, and they used techniques that I've never used before, and I thought it was pretty interesting. It was an awesome investigation, just because I learned a lot. I loved
right.
it. So
Exactly. If you love it, it's fun.
yes.
Well, we got about a little over 15 minutes, so I want to talk about your show, Paranormal Brew, and you can find that, well, pretty much everywhere. Just look up Paranormal Brew. If you want to go to easy place, go to facebook.com/paranormal brew. You have a website as well. Um, Tell us a little bit about the show. Like, how'd you start that? What made you kind of go, okay, I'm going to do this?
It started out, after the groups. I was sick of the drama and the politics of it. And one night we were talking, me and there was another person from that group that had left when I left, and we were talking, and I said, we have some of the best conversations when we're just sitting here hanging out and talking.
Yeah,
We
right.
need to record this shit. I'm like, because I said, oh, can I,
You're fine. You're
okay,
fine.
I'm sorry. I said, I need to record this because sometimes you like say stuff and you're like, that sounded really smart. I'm never going to remember that,
Right.
So we decided we're just going to start this, and it started out as something just like on Mixler, and we were like kind of just like, and I go back and I um, look at my first shows. It started in 2017, and like
Yeah.
I can't believe how it's like so embarrassing. Like I wish I could take them off, but I can't. They're there. So I mean, like I go back and I look at them. I'm like, oh my god. But you know, I love to see the progress that I've made, and because of the people that I've met. I met so many awesome people since I started doing the brew, and I
Yeah.
did have people with me at one point, and then once I was by myself, and not that they hindered anything, or for some reason doing it by myself, it kind of like it got a lot of attention then thereafter, and I just started being able to, like, I'm booked out till June
Yeah.
1st.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just awesome. I feel very blessed to have been able to work and meet some of the people that I have
Yeah.
met. They've been awesome.
Well, 5 years doing a show is quite the accomplishment. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you were nominated last year, right, for best podcast, right?
Yeah, I don't think those results have not come out yet.
Oh, so you could still win.
I could still win. However, to me, I've already won. I've said this, and,
Yeah.
and people get mad at me. I'm like, listen, there's enough people that thought about me to write in and say Paranormal Brew. To me, that's a win. You
Right.
know, I love it. I love being nominated. I love,
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. We got another person. Hello, Christy
hi.
London. Thanks for watching. And then Brian John said, liking me some brew, lol. And crossing fingers. Well, we'll
Yes.
see what happens.
Thank you.
Wishing the best on that. So, in doing your show, like I feel like I learn a lot from doing the show. What's kind of one of the coolest things that you've taken away from a guest that you walked away going, "Oh, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna do this." What was one of those things?
So I have to say first, and I love every single person that's been on my show, but I had Jason Halls on, and that was the coolest. And he's a friend, but he was just so awesome for him to be able to come on. And November 24th, Thanksgiving, and I'm like, dude, it's Thanksgiving. He's like, let's just do it. And I was like, all right. So I mean, that was cool, and that was probably the highlight of since I've started, because he came on, and my show I started to want to gear towards educating people that you know might be like 14-year-olds that are sitting on a couch watching Ghost Adventure. Sorry, I'm not trying to upset anybody, but and seeing that's how, and thinking that's how you're supposed to investigate, and
Sure.
going out to places and you know not 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 doing things very nicely.
Sure.
So I wanted to educate people. So mainly started out as just a lot of paranormal stuff, and then I was like, you know what? I want to learn about people that research Bigfoot. I want to know how they research Bigfoot. So I was started to just get more. So I started to just open up. So then I've had UFO people on, Bigfoot people on. I've
Yeah.
had, skeptics on, parapsychologists on, doctors that investigate. I just want to just get as much information out there as I can.
Right.
But the one thing that I took away from one of my shows is, and I actually did it at Kreischer Mansion this past weekend, so thank God. But I had Ron Iacovetti and Lourdes Gonzalez on, and they do something with something called a DRV.
Direct radio voice.
Yes,
That's cool.
fascinates me
That's
because I don't like spirit boxes. I'm sorry. For me, when
Sure.
you can hear, I would rather want the quiet so that
Sure.
I can hear the EVPs and this and that. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that they just, and it's radio waves.
Sure.
You're jumping off radio waves. I think it's just something that's just way too much. It's not substantial for me to say,
Sure.
and it's interpretation. So, but this DRV thing is baffling my brain.
Well, that's the original way that research started.
It's baffling.
Before sweeping through frequencies, just staying on one that's static. And Karen Finley, thanks for watching. My lovely wife Molly, hello.
Hi, Molly.
We had a lot of comments come in.
So
Samantha.
so she's right, because like I said, I was live the entire time we were on the investigation.
Yeah.
And I had some troopers. There were people there for the whole 5 hours. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But people don't want to see that. She's right. Like, people don't want to see the real stuff. They want to see,
The TV stuff.
unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. And ghost boxes and ITC research, it's definitely one of those. It's a polarizing thing in the paranormal field. You either love it or you hate it, right?
Right.
And maybe hate's a strong word, maybe love
Yeah.
is too strong of a word too. But I, I've had some interesting experiences with that stuff, and so my thinking is kind of always been, why not try something,
Yeah, absolutely.
and if it, maybe you'll stumble onto the right formula. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's fun at the very least. But the direct radio voice that's a lot more easier to, well, I guess I should say it's probably a more credible piece of evidence.
If you're going to use that, I think. I mean,
Yeah,
he literally, and I recorded it live. It was live on, on everywhere, because I said, explain to everybody how this works, and he just went boom, 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 boom. He plugged it in. It's like, so what you're hearing coming out of that radio technically should be coming out of his sound bar, but there's voices coming out of the sound bar. How is this happening when there's no radio station
right.
hitting this
Yeah,
this frequency? There's
yeah,
nothing there. What is it? What is that?
yeah.
So,
One interesting thing that I've had. Hey, Aaron, thanks for watching. Um, is when you get sworn at.
that's
Um,
what was happening where we were.
yeah. So I've had a number of times using a ghost box and hearing something. I'll edit it saying "f you," "f
Mhm.
yourselves," "f
Mhm.
off," and
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, okay, you can't say the f word on the radio. What's that all about?
Yeah. This weekend there was a lot of that happening.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. And Tim says, unfortunately, we live in a culture of sound bites. Very true. Very
Yep,
true.
absolutely.
It's, it's, and we got somebody saying, wait, what is a ghost box? It's a device that basically will like scan radio stations and not stop. And it can be loud and annoying,
Yeah,
and
and
and you
then
get,
yeah.
yeah, and you get pieces of stuff that comes through on the radio, but how I've approached it is, trying to ask specific questions, trying to put whatever controls you can put on that. Hey, I'm holding something. What color is it? I have had interesting things like if I do an audio session and we're using a ghost box, I'll say, hey, if you want to answer my question, say my name along with your answer so that I know you're talking to me. And I've had multiple times where it'll say, yes, Pete, no, Pete, to certain things. And so that's kind of weird.
See, now I'm going to say, like, there's probably 3 ghost box or whatever you want to call it, spirit boxes, stuff that I heard that I was actually like, okay, this needs a little bit more thought into it. You know what I mean? But when we were at the Chrysler Mansion the other night, we started doing it, and I heard Michael Jackson. I was like, "Well, we got Michael Jackson." I was like, "It wasn't that bad of a session, was it?"
Was it Thriller?
All I heard was hee hee. I'm like, "Oh, it's Michael."
There you go.
There's
Hey,
that
that'll brighten up any investigation, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but definitely it's a polarizing thing, and I think that I'm trying to look more at the direct radio voice too, because um, that's, I think, more credible as far as getting that piece of evidence, if you're just on static. So I myself am trying to look more into that, and
Yeah,
you know and I like that you talk about being open-minded, when you go into an investigation. And I think you just kind of have to be in anything to do with the paranormal or Bigfoot
any
or
of it.
UFOs. If you're so closed-minded, then you're not willing to accept other theories or think of your own theories, if you're
And how
just
can
closed-minded.
exactly? And then how could I stand here and say that you should accept mine if I'm not going to listen to yours, right? I mean,
Right. Sure. Yeah.
so
My mantra at the paranormal has always been, we don't know shit and anything's possible.
exactly. It's an awesome motto.
Yeah, you just
I
kind of
love
gotta
it.
kind of go by by that because
Yeah,
then you're open to experiences and stuff. So
absolutely.
no, that's great stuff. So who do you got coming up on your show, and who's coming up? What do you got going on?
Oh, so so
Sounds like
this
a lot.
well, so this week I have this means a lot to me. It's his name's Tim Mail. He does a autographs for Pooch's Paracon every year. It's his third annual one this year. And whatever city he's in or whatever town he goes to, which is I'm hoping eventually he'll be able to travel, you know.
Hmm.
And but right now it's just been located in like around the same area. And I believe it's like Michigan, Ohio area up there.
Okay.
Um, but it's all the proceeds go to the local animal shelters wherever he's at. And he's raised over $73,000 so far
Oh,
to
that's cool.
local animal shelters, and it's in memory of his dog. I mean, his story. He always makes me cry. I've heard it. I've had him on my show 3 times, and every time he tells it, I cry. I'm always like, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry because I've heard this story, but I always cry.
Hmm.
But they basically saved each other's lives, And after Murray passed, he said, I got to keep his legacy alive. I got to keep because he saved my life, and I
Yeah.
got to keep doing this. So that he'll be coming on Wednesday. Long story, sorry. Um, and then I'm on a couple of shows, and then I do have Kenny Biddle coming on. I don't know if anybody is familiar with Kenny Biddle. He is a skeptic and writes for the
I've heard
Skeptic
the name.
Inquirer. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I have him coming on. I love him. I've had him on a few times.
It's good to have
Um,
skeptics. Yeah,
he's
around.
amazing. He's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
And I have some, like I said, some shows coming up, and it's just busy only because like I said, now I'm co-owner of Power Post Network, which is growing by the day. It's amazing, and but
And
I'm
where do
not.
you find all the content for that? Is it on YouTube?
So there's an app that you can download the app. It's an iOS or Android app, or Facebook. There's
Okay.
a Facebook Power Post Network. So you just go Central.
Parapost Network.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
So what we're doing is we're just giving it a platform for everybody to stream their shows on. So
Oh, that's cool.
it's just one like stop shop, So like if they want to click on Paranormal Pete Show for a minute, and we just encourage everybody just to share everybody's shit out, and just network and support each other,
Yeah.
podcast wise. So it's amazing because it's like all your people, all these shows are just like right there. You can just pick which one you want to choose to,
Yeah. Oh, that's
you know.
neat.
Yeah. So he started that. I'm helping him with that, and um, Paranormal Brew, and I'm a third owner of another streaming thing called BB3 TV, and that started a couple years ago. So, it's
Right
just
on.
another platform for people to be able to stream on if they want, because I'm
Yeah.
all about that. I'm all about
Getting
getting
the information out there.
getting my peers, my family, my podcast family out there.
That's awesome. So your show Paranormal Brews on Wednesday nights, right?
Yeah, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Yep.
Eastern time. So all
Yes.
the West Coasters out here, that's Eastern time. That's 4:30
Yes. Yes.
local
Yes.
Pacific time. So it's on every Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
And oh well, congratulations on that. And thanks so much for sharing all the information you did. And let's see. Looks like somebody. Okay. Well, did you just search it on Facebook? Samantha is saying Parapost Network, Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's a link in the comment there. Um, I'll find it after the show, and I'll put it on my page too.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Oh, this is a good question before we're done here. My good buddy Mikey Haslip. Question for Taryn and Pete: do you feel you are drawn to haunted places, and or do you feel these places are actually guiding and drawing you there? Which of these places did you have the most profound experience?
I'd have to say I wasn't drawn to Gettysburg, but after I went to Gettysburg, it definitely sucked me in. And then I will say the only place that I've ever felt drawn to is Penhurst before I've
Okay.
gone there. after going there twice, I did find out. I actually went on Ancestry, tried to start doing my whole family history thing, and I met a cousin in Georgia,
Okay.
and she started. We friended each other on Facebook and stuff, and she messages me. She's like, "I'm not trying to be weird, but I was looking back on your stuff, and I saw you went to Pennhurst for an investigation a couple months ago." And I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "You do know that we had a first cousin that was a resident there?" I was like, no. Oh, so yeah. She's like, Brian Kerper, he was there. He was removed from there in 1978 and moved to Hamburg State Hospital, but he was in Pennhurst his whole life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you maybe, yeah, I mean, I would say that's a connection.
Yeah. And
Eh,
and what's crazy is I did not know about that at all. And before
yeah,
I went, I felt like I had to go. I
yeah.
wanted to go so bad. It was just one of the places I wanted to go. So
That's awesome. And I'll say that to Mikey's question, the latter, I think things guiding and drawing me to a place. I think that's how it worked here for me in Port Gamble. Ending up here, my wife and I ended up working at the same place here and decided not to commute anymore. So we moved here. And then all hell broke loose is on the paranormal front. Um, and and now I'm the town manager of Port Gamble. So it's I'm not the
town,
mayor. I'm not the
town
mayor.
manager, huh?
Yeah, I'm
What's
not
town
the.
manager do?
It's a company owned town.
Oh,
And not too many of those around anymore.
no.
So
Wow. Interesting.
I'm hired. Yeah, so I work for the company that owns the town. So I'm not a mayor, but I feel like in some ways that I was supposed to be here and to honor the history and honor the people who made the history here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I would say to Mikey's question, it's the latter, I think, drawing and guiding to it. Well, geez, we're out of time, but
Yes,
love to have you back sometime and hear about
absolutely.
any updated Gettysburg experiences, any other
Absolutely.
cool things you get. So we'll have to have you back on the show, and I thank you so
Absolutely.
much for taking the time, for coming on.
And thank
And
you for having me.
oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, I leave every show with a toast,
Okay.
and it's the past is history and the future is a mystery, but today is a gift because it's the present. So don't
Oh.
forget to take time each day if you can. I know our lives are crazy and busy and wacky, but try and take some time each day to be present, be in the moment, like you do on a paranormal investigation, right? Be
Mhm.
in the moment and be there. So hug everyone else, hug everyone you're with, hug everyone else virtually for a while longer. And hope everybody has a good week. And we'll see you next week. I've got special guest Michelle Freed on. We're going to be talking about remote viewing. And I've got some great shows lined up for you next month. And we'll be, as we get closer to the Oregon Ghost Conference, that's at the end of March, we'll be talking more and more about that in Seaside, Oregon. So stay tuned next week. Be sure you check out all the shows on this station, WLTKDB. Be sure you check out Taryn's show. It's on Wednesday nights. Paranormal Brew, and we'll see everybody next week. Thanks again to everybody watching. Thanks for all the comments and questions. We'll see everybody next week from the Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Peter Orbea. Take care.